I just finished watching episode 5 of Kenobi, and I have to say, this is my favorite episode yet. So we start the episode off with a beautiful flashback of Anakin and Obi-Wan at the Jedi Temple, sparring, talking. It's really just an amazing scene. Hayden and Ewan look beautiful. The scene immediately cuts to Vader sitting on board his Star Destroyer, when all of a sudden Reva walks in. Reva tells him that she knows the location of the rebels, and she knows where Obi-Wan's hiding, and he rewards her by saying that she's now the Grand Inquisitor. As the episode goes on, we get more and more flashbacks of Obi-Wan and Anakin sparring at the Jedi Temple. We get an insinuation that Anakin is too aggressive and that Obi-Wan is trying to teach him to restrain himself. Now, as the Empire's closing in on Obi-Wan, we see him trying to inspire these refugees and give them hope. Obi-Wan ends up sneaking off to some hallway and checking his transponder, and it ends up being a message from Bail Organa. Bail Organa basically tells him that he's worried about him and he hasn't heard from him in a while, and if he doesn't hear from him soon, he's gonna go to Tatooine and look over Luke. Now at this point, the Empire's fully surrounded the base, and Obi-Wan says that he wants to negotiate. He walks up to the door in what seems to be like a force reach. He puts his hand on the door where Reva is standing opposite. Him and Reva have a conversation, and he finds out that she was one of the younglings that was attacked at the Jedi Temple when Anakin executed Order 66. Now, this scene was very chilling. I thought the acting from Moses and Ewan was extremely good. The shakiness in her voice whenever she was talking about the trauma she experienced at the Jedi Temple, I felt like she was really there. I mean, that was definitely the best scene in the episode to me. Towards the end of their conversation, Obi-Wan actually convinces Reva that they need to team up and fight Vader. Inevitably, the Empire storms the base, and during the escape, Tala dies. Now, I don't really have much to say about this. If they were just gonna kill her character in this episode, I feel like she should have died in the last episode. I feel like it would have made more sense, because her escaping that base against all odds just to die immediately in this episode, I don't know, it just seems counterintuitive. Just kill her off in the last episode or let her stay until the finale. As the Empire storms the base, we see a scene of Vader marching down the hallway. He comes out to a hangar and he sees a rebel ship trying to escape, then to which he grabs with the Force and pulls the ship back down onto the floor. This was a super cool scene. If you've ever played The Force Unleashed, it was exactly like that. Vader is extremely powerful, and he not only held the ship, but he grounded it. Vader tears the ship apart looking for Kenobi, only to find that the ship was a decoy and that the actual ship was already on their way. As Vader watches the real ship fly away, Reva comes up from behind him and, to my surprise, attacks him right then and there. Vader responds by not even igniting his saber. He's just blocking all of Reva's attacks with the Force. It's like the easiest fight of his life. I really like this part of the episode because in the actual comics, Vader really doesn't like the Inquisitors. He thinks they're a joke. I mean, he kills them any chance he gets. Eventually, Vader actually takes Reva's saber and takes it apart. Now the saber's in two pieces, and he throws the other piece back to Reva, and he keeps one for himself. Now this scene told me that Vader wants a good fight. And if my knowledge is correct, Vader is not a fan of multiple sabers. Vader likes one-on-one fights, and he wants it to be fair and balanced. He thinks the use of extra sabers is a crutch. So to me, this was super on par with Vader in the comics, and this kind of felt like a nod of respect from Vader. Of course, 2 seconds into the fight, she loses and Vader has her on her knees. We get a very chilling scene of Reva seeing Anakin approach her at the Jedi Temple, mirrored with Vader approaching her with his red saber in hand. Vader stabs Reva in the gut, and to my surprise, the Grand Inquisitor shows up. They didn't really explain why the Grand Inquisitor's alive or what happened to him. He just kind of shows up and then gives Reva some demeaning babble about how she's beneath him and how she's in the gutter and that's where they found her, and they just kind of leave her there. After the Empire leaves, we see Reva crawling through the sand, and she reaches over and grabs the broken transponder that Obi-Wan left behind during the escape. The transponder was badly damaged during the battle, but she managed to make out the words "boy" Tatooine, and that's pretty much all she needed. At the very end of the episode, we get a really peaceful shot of Luke sleeping at his home in Tatooine. All in all, I think this episode was a 9 out of 10. I really liked it. I think it was the best one out of the series so far. The only problem I had with the episode was the Grand Inquisitor showing up out of nowhere and then not explaining what happened and then just leaving. That was kind of a bummer. I was really wanting to see what happened there. But all in all, this was a great episode. I hope you enjoyed this breakdown. It's the first time I ever did it. If you didn't, let me know why.